Okay, people, welcome to a new YouTube video. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 ways to take profit, right? 3 effective ways. These are ways that I've used, that I've found useful in my trading, and I'm going to share them with you today. Now, this I find is quite an interesting topic because I don't see many people talking about it. They don't really talk about how they take profit. They just have their TP and then that's it. You know, everyone talks about the entry, the confluences, the stop loss, but taking profit is an exceptionally important part of trading. And you need to have a good method of taking profits, a method that works for your system. So I'm going to show you 3 today, okay? Now, the first one is very, very simple. The first one is simply using a fixed RR, right? So let's say I have a very basic system and I'm entering in on retracement. So we've got this move here, we retrace into this level, and let's just imagine I got in here, right? And I'm putting my stop loss at this low here, right? Just a completely random trade. These are made up trades. And I just target a fixed 1 to 2, right? Now, with this sort of a system, doing a fixed RR, so I'll just put it in here. So method number 1 is fixed R target, right? So you're literally just doing a fixed risk to reward ratio and you're keeping it that simple, right? Now, as I was saying, this method, and I've used this method, has its positives, but it also has its negatives. Now, I would say that the positives are that it's so simple and it's so easy to test. So you can go back test this and you can just so easily do it. There's very little discretion in it, right? Wherever your stop loss is, basically your stop loss determines where your TP is going to be. So if you have this in a systematic, if your stop loss is systematic, then your TP is going to be systematic by extension, right? By whatever you decide to do. You could do 1 to 1, you could do 1 to 2, 1 to 3, whatever you decide. You need to test it on your system. So to me, it's great in the fact that it's so simple, it's so easy to back test. The downside, however, in my opinion, is that you aren't actually considering anything to do with price, right? So I could have my TP set at 1 to 2, and I could have a huge resistance right here, right? It's highly unlikely price going to penetrate that resistance. Now in this case, we don't really, but in some circumstances you might have a high that has been been held for like multiple weeks, and your stop loss is way above that. So your TP is way above that. So that's the only downside. But nonetheless, in terms of simplicity, I actually think this is a pretty good approach. Now, the second approach is an approach that I have used for quite a while. And basically it's the simple premise is to just leave a runner, right? Now, so I'll just put this in here. So approach number 2 is you're going to leave a runner, right? So with approach number 2, basically where you put your TP, you could have a fixed RR TP, say 1 to 2, or you could have your TP based off of levels, let's say resistance levels. Now again, this is going to depend on your strategy. So exactly, obviously these are all suggestions. So exactly where you set your TP, whatever the approach, that's up to you. But with the idea that I'm suggesting is to leave a runner 10, 20, 30%. And I actually quite like this strategy, and I'll tell you why. I think it's great on your psychology. The reason being is because when you leave a runner, you don't feel like you missed the move if price does continue. But if it gets stopped out, you don't really care because you've got full TP, right? So imagine, same instance, I have 1 to 2, and at 1 to 2 I take 80% off, but then I leave a runner and I just put my stop loss, right, to break even. And then I leave a runner. In this instance, right, that runner could still be running, right? And maybe I put my TP way up here. So that strategy is very effective in that you're not limiting your upside, which I think is a very nice thing to do, because when you take a trade like this, like imagine this trade, and it hits 1 to 1.5, and then just it continues, you are limiting your upside on that trade. So yeah, you're locking in the profits, but you're also limiting your upside. So again, leaving a runner is a fantastic approach. Okay, so the final approach I'm going to show you, put in here, is the final approach, and this might throw a few of you off guard a little bit, or catch you off guard, is to actually have no TP. No TP. Now, this is going to definitely throw a lot of you off guard. You wouldn't be expecting that. Have no TP. It sounds ridiculous, right? But it's actually a fantastic approach if you are a trend following trader. And if you have followed, for example, Larry Williams, I've read a few of his books, and he has multiple strategies where he has no fixed TP. He literally doesn't have a TP. And instead, he shifts the stop loss into profit, into profit, into profit. And the reason this is quite an effective approach, can be a very effective approach, is because if you get you could get a winner that runs for months and months, and the profits just keep going. So what you're doing with that approach is you're always limiting your losses, but your take profits, or the amount you can win, is essentially unlimited, right? If you catch a good trade and you just keep trailing your stop, for example, on USD JPY, it's not implausible that this continues to trend all the way up to 155. And instead of getting stopped out at 1 to 1.5, the trade just continues on, and I get a 1 to 6 R, right? It's not implausible. Of course, you're also going to get stopped out. So it's with every approach, it's a give and take. But if you have a trend following strategy, I think this is a really interesting one to consider. And what would have happened in this trade is basically you would have shifted your stop loss. So imagine you got in there, then let's say you're shifting it behind swing points. You would have shifted it here, and then price came all the way up, came back. All right, this is another major level here. So you're shifting it below there, then you're going to shift it below there, so on and so forth. Maybe you're going to shift it here. And you would have locked in like a really solid profit already without limiting your upside potential, right? So yeah, this is an effective approach, especially if you have a trend following strategy. Now, what I'm going to say to end this video is these are just 3 ideas, right? These are all ideas that I have used in my personal trading. But what matters, and the only thing that matters, is not that you just change your system now. No, what matters is you take these ideas and you go back test them on your system, the way you trade, and you test, do they improve your profitability? That's all that matters. These are simply ideas, and this is the way you need to look at trading. So take these ideas, go back test them, and assess, do they improve your profitability? And if they do, then perhaps start trading them. If they don't, put them to the side. That is the way you need to approach every single idea you hear on the internet. Whether it's from ICT, whoever the hell says it, you take the idea and you back test it independently. It's the only way you're going to find trading success. So yeah, thank you for watching, and until next time, cheerio.